One of the key things in our campaign is education and jobs. And someone once told me, or I saw it in the news, that you cannot be a pro-business person without being pro-education. Clearly, we are not funding education sufficiently. Schools are having to make major cutbacks, and the Supreme Court, I believe, was right in saying that we have not met our responsibility under the Constitution. And it's something that is vital for the economy, vital for jobs, and vital for our higher education as well, getting students that are well prepared, moving into jobs and moving into higher education. We're going to look first for the funding of it at efficiencies and savings that we can make from business. But we cannot exclude revenues because we've got to come up with $1 billion worth, or the court's going to force us to do that because they're retaining jurisdiction. And so what we need to do is meet with the stakeholders, come up with a way that we can fully fund and how much is needed, and be able to get a consensus as to what is needed and where we would get the revenue. And what we're going to end up having to do is satisfy the people of the state of Washington that if money is raised, that it's going to be specifically for that purpose, education. And I think we can do that.
That's two questions, Counselor. Let's address the first one. The Constitution is fairly clear. State Constitution, Article 9, Section 1, that says not that Washington State has a paramount duty. Washington State it is the paramount duty of the state to adequately fund basic education. When you have the Supreme Court have to come in and reaffirm that or clarify that for the state so that they understand prioritization and state specifically that it is the primary funding responsibility above and beyond public safety or the most vulnerable. They make that very clear. Raising taxes as a first choice of revenue is never a very good idea. That's something we should look at as a last resort. The first resort, we should move outside the box of having to choose between raising taxes to reduce competing services or having to go farther in debt and look for the fourth alternative that nobody's really looking at, which is more than one budget cycle in front of us, that requires that we actually enhance business, economic development once again, allowing for the creation of jobs, allowing for the businesses to site in the state here, wanting specifically to have businesses come here and creating a sustainable revenue stream by increasing business under an existing tax structure. That's the appropriate way to fund.